Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. We are on December 9th and GameStop. Quite the discount we're getting today. It is beautiful. We're going to talk about some technical analysis. We send that tweet out to Discord on the SPY, on GameStop, and how this market is probably going to start tanking pretty heavy here. And yeah, that's what we got. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy Money sticks around. We have a Twitter you can follow us on. It's at Happy Money YT. There it is. As well as our Discord server, which I just sent out a message for all y'all to come join. Yeah, so SPY, I think SPY, I'm not sure. There's not any news, but SPY kind of tanking for the last hour. And press secretary or whatever her name is for Biden has been talking about Ukraine and invasion. I'm not being sarcastic, but I don't think that was actually why this is happening. I'm not sure why. I mean, we know why, but so far the media hasn't given us any excuses for why yet that the market is coming down. Might be some anticipation of CPI numbers tomorrow. Inflation is out of control, higher than it's been. Higher than it was in 08 before the crash. I think higher than the 70s. Definitely higher than the 70s before the crash if you count, if you're counting on the same metrics. At any rate, TA on it is bearish. We've got bearish MACD, red under the 9 moving average, and pretty big volume coming in here. Got about 30 minutes to close. And so yeah, we've got bearish plays on this. Like always, man. If I don't have bearish plays on SPY, I can't sleep at night. I wake up in a cold sweat. I'm like, oh crap, I don't have a whole lot of money on a bearish play on SPY. So I make sure I have that so I get a good night's rest, and then we're good. GameStop, proper earnings sell-off. Yeah, I wasn't sure if they'd be able to do it or not, and they did. Market makers were pricing in 12% move, 12.3 or something, and we clipped just about that at that 151. So yesterday we were talking about, or 2 days ago, been trying to figure out what support it would hold up on. Held pretty good on that 160 for a bit, 160 area, and then kind of broke through that, and then yeah, 151 was the low. If that's the low, I don't know yet, but I think tomorrow we're gonna get a bounce from this regardless, and then we'll see. So every earnings pretty much, they've crushed it. Well, GME's done really well, and then they've shorted it, the hedgies, and then we've had a bounce. So if you look back here, let's see, auto. So here's earnings. Next day opened up here, they shorted it down. Next day opened here, big bounce. That could be other stuff too, but we'll just bear with me on the earnings. Earnings here, opened up here, huge shorted down. Next day opened here and had a bounce. So we're used to the shorting after earnings, but what about the day after? Oftentimes there has been a bounce. So this one was kind of unusual. It actually opened up way down here, then rallied, and then the next day it came down. But since today is the second or the day after earnings and we're getting shorted, we're not getting a big gap down, rise up. I think tomorrow we'll get that bounce. And my option plays hope so as well. That being said, for shares, this might be the best deal you're going to get ever on GameStop. But that's only for trying to bottom ticket. If your momentum, more about that, a little safer, scaling in. Yeah, you could scale in some here, wait a couple days, see if we consolidate. And if we hold the support, then you could scale in more. It's not like just since it touched 151 today doesn't mean it's going to not come back down here again this week or next week. It could, but doesn't mean necessarily it has to. So if it does, then we could make a lower support, and then I'd just be looking for really that 145. That's kind of the last support. I mean, of course it could keep coming, 136 and so, but I don't expect it to go past 145 if it gets to there. So yeah, basically for shares, scaling in, scaling out seems like the best play. We do have this RSI divergence on the hourly, which is doesn't always hold up. The longer the time frame on these, the better. The more I think that they apply. Like here on the daily, we had this RSI divergence back in March, and then it tanked. On the hourly here, though, we have one setting up. It's not finished yet because this this basically peak, this inverse peak isn't done. This keeps dropping down and this peak gets lower and lower. Lower than this, then it won't be divergence anymore. But so far we have a divergence, a triple play. 1, 2, and then this might be a third. So it's a 1, we had it here. We had a lower low, and then a higher low on the RSI. And then this will be another lower low with a higher RSI. But again, this one isn't done, so we'll see. Maybe by tomorrow, if we do bounce, then this will be a peak, and then that will be a divergence. Not sure where it'll settle. Typically supports become resistances and resistances become supports. So maybe 170 will be a resistance. But yeah, I'm stoked though. The market coming down, honestly, and seems like we're gonna get volatility again, and hopefully a market correction continues to take place. On the daily, I'm had an epic bounce, but look, that MACD never crossed bullish. It's crazy. It never did it. So kind of interesting for how big of a bounce, and it still won't let it happen. So I'm thinking this is still coming down for sure. And with that, we're gonna have GME rip, but SPY might have to come down a lot. Today we did see when the SPY was tanking, so I was bringing GME down with it, and then somewhere right about here, GME said nope, and it had enough, and it built a floor, and I loved seeing that. SPY coming down, typically we'll bring GME with it until it gets to a point where it's no more. So it made that point 151, 152, and SPY was actually tanking right here. Let's see, that's 1525. Yeah, you can look, it was even starting to inverse. So all these candles, 1510, SPY or GME was holding up. So that's really good. As much as I like discounts on GME and for it to keep dropping, just having it hold up when the SPY is tanking, I think I do like a little bit more. So yeah, on the hourly though, we're looking for a little peak, and you see it's already starting to form right now, just from this little rip up in the next hourly candle that we just made. So if this candle closes just right where it's at by close, which I think will probably come up more, but if it closes even there, that's still technically a divergence, another one. So we'll see on that. But I did actually get more shares today. I hardly ever buy shares on GME. I do a lot of options. I already have a ton of shares, so, but I had to. The IV on the options is still pretty high, and I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting a bounce tomorrow, but if you look after earnings, I mean, that's when we're kind of back in this cycle period. So earnings, bounce, and then consolidation, bleeding, options, buyers dry for weeks and weeks. This was a long time. And then back here, same deal. So I'm expecting something similar to just this, just consolidation for the next however long. However, we have been seeing, I think we've been seeing more volatility between the cycles, between earnings. We had it here, we had a spike, and then had that. That was such a weird move right here. And I think it's becoming more frequent, because look right here, you can see it kind of mid earnings. We had this little double spike thing. Futures, swaps, whatever, rollover. So I think we will get price action sooner, and we won't have to wait. I'm hoping for a long, drawn out drop like this. And I don't think the drop will be much. I think we're making higher lows. If we do make a lower low, that will be interesting. That will be interesting. If you look on the weekly, it looks much more like a kind of a pendant bull flag still. You can see a support here, kind of the lines on the up and the down, and then on the monthly, it looks like it's just getting to that support line to where it's either going to consolidate and drop or consolidate and rip. If you don't look at that orange moving average line, just kind of look at this here and then this here, it's beautiful on the monthly chart. MACD is just coming down, so it's crazy how this all works out. Just come down to hit the signal, and then we'll see what happens. But I'm not going to be getting really any calls per se. I'll be doing put credit spread and that sort of thing. So here's options we did today. I did also buy shares. So E-Trade decided to stop working when GME was on the biggest discount. So I went over to TD. TD down 3,400 today. It's beautiful. This is my small account too, 3,400, not bad. So picked up more shares on here. I have 147 now. I would have picked up 100 by selling a put, but I didn't have enough. So just bought some shares, scaled in again. If we keep coming down and find a little 145 support, I'll still have some capital for that. On here, look, it's still pending cancel over here. You can't see it, it's still pending cancel. Birds, I have all these bird shares. Finally, the options started to make sense. So I sold 40 $10 strike calls, received $673 credit, and that's for next Friday. So that's my favorite play of the day, besides buying more GME shares. I have 4,000 shares of birds. Sold these $10 calls. They're break even, but if birds comes up to $10 by then, I'll be stoked. And I'll either roll it or decide what I want to do with it. And it could, but if the market's crashing, I don't know. I don't know if birds will do that or not. I think I want birds in the long term. Probably not this big of a position, but some kind of bird exposure I gotta have. Sold to close, bought to cover. Okay, so I had a bearish play on GME. Forgive me. It was a call debit spread, and I closed it this morning, just to just to get out of it because it was consolidating so much. I was surprised I didn't hit it harder sooner, and I made a gain on it, but not what I could have. I would have actually made max gain on that thing, or close to it if I waited. Anyways, still have our bullish play, our put credit spread for next Friday, this big one that we might be rolling again next Friday. And I opened up another bullish play a little early again today, this 160, 165 put credit spread for tomorrow. This is for the bounce. But when I set that up and I opened that play, I mean, GME was up here at 160. So yeah, I still think it could work. This one could work. So that's that. Sold short, buy. I closed, opened. What did I do? Buy. Oh, I had a bullish play on SPY, remember? Closed that one 80% or so. And here's a put credit spread I opened. Starbucks, I opened up 3 puts. There was something about them unionizing or something. Not sure. Yeah, it seemed bearish though. And I don't think it really, this was the news right here hitting. Hasn't really continued to affect it. We'll see. Any kind of bad news I am listening out for just to get puts, because I think puts will be good in the foreseeable future. Tesla, so remember Tesla did the big rally, well, the bounce, which we could have maybe caught the little bounce, but trying to time the market that much is somewhat difficult. So like this bounce here, we could have made money on, but at any rate, we picked up our bearish play up here. They went up, and I have enough time so I can hold through this bounce, and now we're starting to make money again on them. This 790 put I picked up, and that's for December 31st. And then this put debit spread, and then this call credit spread. So put debit spread max gain on is 37.40. That's if Tesla gets down to 910 by expiration. And this call credit spread funds it, because I get a credit for opening this up at 2600. And yeah, that's how I'm playing that. GME's earnings were good. They missed on EPS, which is kind of just a broad generic type of deal. But I think the main reason is because they're putting a lot of money back into the business. One way is they're buying a ton of inventory and trying to be loaded up for Christmas season, and with supply chains being all screwed up right now. Yeah, so basically EPS missed, but besides that, I think their net sales, net revenue is up like 20 or 30%. And they have a bunch of inventory, like I said, and they still have 1.4 billion in cash. They've opened up multiple, can't remember the name for it, but in Seattle, and then also in somewhere else. And then their customer care center that has 200, or actually maybe 500 employees. So yeah, it's good. I mean, it's the EPS missing is what the headies will be able to use to short it down and say, oh yeah, that's what all the media is saying. I wanted to show some of this stuff. This is a good read. If you haven't looked at Happy DD on our Discord, you gotta go through here. This one here, this is the way. Yeah, here's a nice little review. This doesn't say the bearish stuff, which I just told you, but net sales were 1.297 billion for the quarter compared to 1.005 billion in the prior year's third quarter. So that's like 30% increase. Sales attributable to new and expanded brand relationships such as Samsung, LG, Razer, Vizio. So they started selling those basically on their platform. Inventory was 1.1 billion at the close of the quarter. So yeah, tons of inventory compared to 861 million. I mean, a significant amount of inventory they bought. So that's going to mess up the EPS. So if you, for the short term, to please investors, to please shareholders, you want to bump up your EPS, bump your EPS, all this. But for a company, they're honestly not concerned with that, which is good. That's fine. That's a successful company. That's more concerned with their customers, and then shareholders literally come second, which might sound crappy, but that's the way it should be. Ended the period with cash and cash equivalents of 1.4 billion, as well as no other debt other than, yeah, so no debt and then 1.4 billion. This debt they can't get rid of, I don't think, right now. They're locked in. So new offices in Seattle and Boston. Technology hubs with established talent markets. Technology hubs, yeah, I don't know if those are performance centers or what, but secured a new 500 million. Okay, so this is, which closed in November, just after the end of the third quarter, which with improved liquidity in terms, including reduced borrowing costs, lighter covenants, and additional flexibility. So they had a revolving credit facility, and that, I think, kept them from issuing a dividend. And it's possible they got into a new credit facility that is much looser about that. The wording was a little bit different. I read somewhere the wording is somewhat different on the dividends, and it's not as specific about, oh, you can't offer this specific dividend. I'm not sure. I need to look into it more, but yeah, it was kind of interesting. I don't think they can sell for a dividend, but maybe that's just a cash dividend. Maybe they could possibly do an NFT. I'm not going to read this whole one, but yeah, they did what this guy's just ranting. They show a net loss of 105 million in quarter three, but have inventory of over 1 billion. Subtract the liabilities and get $500 million of inventory that is already priced in for, because they have expensed a ton of costs related to putting that product in their warehouse. So that's all affecting the EPS, I believe. And yeah, I actually liked the earnings call with Furlong. I think he did a good job. Expand their infrastructure, hired a bunch of senior talent. Yep. Let's see, the fundamentals are strong with this. This was a funny picture. I actually didn't understand it right away. GameStop sales rose 29% in year-over-year quarterly comparison. Number of major retailers that outperformed GameStop in their most recent 10Q filings: 0. Costco did the best with 22%, Amazon 15%, Target 13%. These are the big e-commerce hitters. Walmart and Amazon are the two largest e-commerce. Kroger, Best Buy, none of these did this good, which is that means a lot, especially with all the cash they have and no debt. I don't know all the fundamentals on those if they have a lot of cash and no debt, but that's good for any business. Yeah, inflation is insane. CPAC numbers come out tomorrow. Fed had to raise rates to 20%. This is what I was talking about from the 70s. They raised the rate up to 20% back in the 70s when the inflation was lower than it is now. Yeah, so if they raise them that much, that's insane. This is a super long read, which I did actually read it, and I suggest you reading it too. This is from a CPA that wrote this, knows much more about it than I do. So yeah, that's what I got for you guys. My options are pretty slim now that the IV crush is it's over. As you can see on here, look at this. Look, remember that was only up like 18% yesterday before earnings. Now it's 95%. That 205 shorted call. I closed out of my Webull bullish position this morning, thankfully, and yeah, I'm ready for the consolidation for a bit, and then I think January, February, we should definitely, for the next earnings, we should see some awesome numbers with the holiday and potentially be profitable. Yeah, I'm stoked. That's what I got for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. Norma Nicholas wins. Axis, Kelp, Moondayish, Miruga, Devin, Dejana, Jason Oguz, PJ. Thank you guys for joining Sundays, and we will see you tomorrow. Hopefully there's a bounce and we'll get some money back on those options. Man, this account. Okay, so today we're down 20 grand on this account.